One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Oh, that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR 20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for Season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like Otil Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongssummercamp.com/simple. Check it out.
No simple road. 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 No simple road.
Was first just like a cool hippie guy in Portland, later became lighting and visual designer Jonathan.
Wait, there's hippies in Portland?
Yeah, Jonathan Singer.
No
Whoa.
way.
Yeah,
No way.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. So
Hey now,
I went.
Ed's talking.
Oh, hey, what's up, guys?
We're here with Jake and Brynn and Mel and Aaron and Darwin.
Hi,
I talk
guys.
about myself in the third person now.
Hi, people.
Aaron's the host of the show.
Hi, party people out there.
Anyway,
Hopefully
please
party people.
continue, Jake.
Oh, you want me to tell this really funny story?
Sure.
Oh, God.
No, I want you to tell
No.
a sad, boring.
No, look. So when I first moved to Portland in 2007, I love Portland. Still love Portland.
Portland loves you, Jake.
Thank you. It's the city of roses, city of love. We love it. So one of the first, I moved in with one of my really, really good friends, entertainer, incredible musician, internationally touring, incredible guy, Nico Luminous. We love Nico Luminous. A lot of people out there listening to this know who Nico Luminous is. He's been in the West Coast.
I actually did a poll, and 72.3% of the people listening know who Nico Luminous is.
So what
Dude,
about the
incredible
23?
music.
What about the other
Anyway,
20?
please continue.
Incredible dude. When he opened up his home to me, let me move in. That's how I got my start in Portland. And thanks to him. And one of the first places he took me to was this a birthday party with this guy, Johnny Dwork. He's kind of people know who he is in the scene. He's like, used to do the Peak Experience stuff. I don't know if he still does it. It was his 48th birthday.
What's the Peak Experience stuff?
They were this production group that was based out of Portland that synced up with String Cheese Incident, and they would do like the extra stuff at the bigger String Cheese show.
When you say extra stuff, what are you talking about? Like lights?
No one can see your arms.
Yeah.
They have like
We didn't do the
Jake
video.
is doing
Jake.
a grand gesture for all of you out there
Grand
in Radio Land.
Hey, everybody who's listening to this, I'm going to ask a question.
Oh,
Would
yeah.
you rather see this than hear this?
You can do both.
You can do both.
Well,
babe.
I'm
It's not a either or.
Yeah.
We're trying to work out. Would you watch this?
Yeah, exactly. That's my question. Like,
I think
is it
you
worth
would.
it?
Look,
Because
I'm
do
trying
you
to
guys want to? Do you care? Or
I'm trying to help these guys realize the truth, the absolute truth. It's undisputed that people would enjoy watching the podcast.
Nobody wants to see my face, dude.
They love your
They
face.
love
They
your
want to
face.
see your jaw
Aaron's got
movement.
a pretty lovable face.
I'm just saying, that's
My
his
jaw
wife right there.
movement.
Somebody,
I'm going to get famous from my jaw movement.
somebody decided to marry
That's
you.
and this
Famous.
super awesome studio.
Yeah, people
all
want to
these
see
cool
it. Do you want to
things.
see it? Send them an email. Tell them. Say yes, I'd love to see it. We're trying to set up. I'm trying to convince
Yeah,
them.
this is not like, oh, we want you to participate like for participation's sake. We really want to know. Like,
Yeah, like,
is it worth it?
it is
'Cause
worth
then
it.
we'll put the effort
Well,
into
it's
it.
the
Other
truth.
than
Sometimes you gotta. The effort only releases.
So
its
we're on
reward
a
after
rabbit
lifetime's
trail.
trial.
True.
But
We are on a rabbit trail.
before we continue with your story, I just want to say,
What's up, y'all?
No Simple Road and Heads Talking are here this week to give you a break from everything that's going on out there.
Yeah.
And when Jake's done with his story, we're going to break down the election, state by state.
Stop.
And
Shut
I'm
up.
just kidding.
Don't
We're-
you
we're
just
here- we're-
gave them anxiety
I'm
for no
joking.
reason.
Oh my
You
It's
better
a
cut that
joke.
out. You
Why?
better cut it out later.
Edit
So
I can
I'm not
show
gonna
you how to
edit
do
it out.
that.
I'm going to leave it. But here's the thing.
You can. Okay.
We're here to give everybody a break. You can just relax and hang out with a bunch of hippies and listen to Jake tell
I have some
stories.
stories.
And
Jake tell stories.
listen to
We're having some
Brynn
chai
and have some
and
chai.
some-
I had some coffee, and please continue, Jake.
Okay, so there I am. And, I just want to add on to who Johnny Dwork was.
We were peak experiencing.
Yeah, peak
something.
experience.
Yeah, I was having a peak
They
experience
did the
in the
extra stuff, such as having the dancers come out set break and do like
Like the
acrobatic-
aerialists
Yeah,
and-
and they did really cool
Fire
like periphery
dancers.
stuff, like the decorating the
Ambiance.
ambiance and all this really cool. It was very ahead of its time.
Okay.
At its time, which was like 1999. I think they did the first thing with New Year's with String Cheese here in Portland.
Oh, I saw that video.
I think it was 99 into 2000 at the Memorial. Yeah. I think I might have showed
That
you
was
some of
dope.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm at his birthday party and Matt Butler shows up and I was like,
Matt Butler's coming to No Simple Road soon, by the way.
oh, I
Yes,
didn't know
he
that
is.
episode
Yeah.
hasn't come out yet.
Nope, not
Anyway,
yet.
please continue.
So that, and there was some other people there too. And, I gravitated more to the jam people. So I was hanging out with Matt Butler's like electronic people, but I was in my 20s. Right. So but it turned out we went to the same high school. So, which was really cool. We both went to Sheldon High School in Eugene, Oregon. He's a Eugene guy. I did some high school in Eugene and some extra time. He's
It's not a prison. I did time in Eugene.
Jake always refers to that.
it's an interesting place. I'm not here to say anything bad, period, because I just want everybody to know how much you're loved and I want to just give love. However, people that have spent time in Eugene know that it has a specific energy and a specific frequency.
I fucking love Eugene, dude.
It has its vibes.
dope.
It's a great place.
Feels like home.
It's a great place to visit.
Exactly.
Yes, feels like home. Anyway, please
I
continue.
love you. I had my best experiences there. I wouldn't be the person I am today without.
So what
Eugene.
happened at this party? You met Matt, and
Yeah, it's cool.
you were hanging out, and that was it. There's no
That's the end of the story.
payoff.
Yeah.
This is, yes.
That's a terrible payoff.
No,
Once upon
I
a
didn't-
time, the end.
Well, that was the
I think
story.
that
I
was
mean-
a good story.
It was just small. I felt very blessed to be like.
Oh,
right,
okay.
Right
Well,
away.
I felt very blessed that Matt was, came over
I
too.
forgot. No, I forgot the end of the story.
Okay, the
There
end of
we
the
go.
story.
I've been smoking weed
No. Oh wait, it's legal almost everywhere now.
with the people from Heads Talking. I am.
What?
I'm
We
a-
didn't smoke together tonight, Jake. Don't
I'm a
lie.
head smoking.
Your head smoking for sure.
Head smoking.
So
No, the funny thing is I forgot the end part of the story, which is the funny part.
Okay.
Okay, that's
So-
what we were wondering. We're like, wait.
I don't know. It's been it's later in the evening. It's right now. It's it's
Okay,
just
so
dark.
the end of the story
End
is.
of the story, Jake.
Wow.
Oof.
We all start jamming on these random kind of ethnic instruments, like African instruments and Moroccan, all these like really like cool instruments from around the world. We're all like jamming together, and there's like Matt Butler's like conducting it, right? And it's like, holy shit, dude.
I'm in every one orchestra.
This is it
This
right
is
now. I'm living it.
1999.
Living it.
Yeah.
No, this is not 99. This is
Okay.
in 2007.
Oh, 07. Okay.
Earlier, that was referring to when Peak Experience and
Oh,
String
okay.
Cheese put
Oh,
it
okay.
together.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
so now back to 2007. We're in this
Forward. Yeah,
ethnic
yeah.
instrument jam. And he just was not liking what I brought to the table.
You need to step it up.
Yeah,
And,
man.
I mean, I was doing this kind of fucking polyrhythmic thing.
He wasn't feeling your vibe.
It was
bro.
just a little too frenetic for probably what he was going for. Whatever.
Yeah,
It's
Jake.
fine.
So what happened?
Well, we fought right after that.
Yeah, right.
And let me tell you, these musicians,
It was an energetic
they
fight.
They don't have street shit like me. So I
Yeah,
was just
whatever, Jake.
like, pow, pow,
So I want to
I'm
ask
just
you.
kidding.
I want to
just
ask you
kidding.
something.
No,
man.
nothing. We had a great time. It's awesome.
When we were on the porch, the whole reason we came in the house was we were having a conversation about
Great conversation.
dimensions,
Yes, multiple dimensions.
and you were about to tell me what dimensions were, and I told you to
Length.
First
stop.
of all, everybody needs to
Length,
take
width,
a
and
listen
height.
to Midnight on Earth.
Oh, come on,
the
stop plugging
fantastic
my-
podcast
No,
from
no,
Jake
no.
Weaver.
Listen to No
over
Simple
here.
Road.
No,
You don't have that
seriously,
much time.
You can listen to
honestly,
both.
yeah, because
much
I've listened to a few episodes, which I was keep forgetting to tell you, but I have been listening, and
Oh,
it's
it's great.
very interesting. And you
I know
have
who all my listeners
a
are.
lot of people that I would love to hear about. So I just want to plug people.
Yeah.
The Exorcist episode is fire, and we just are. All of our episodes are incredible. But if you really want to have a spooky kind of get scared a little bit, you just like listen to the Exorcist episode.
Yeah,
It's really
Jake.
good.
Jake's.
But you don't have time for that because you're listening to every No Simple Road episode and Heads Talking, going back and listening to the ones you missed.
Dude, they got plenty of time, bro.
Yeah,
Everybody's
lots
at
Lots
home.
of time.
right now.
Yep.
Look,
Now
it's
is
way
the
more
time to
important.
create
Now
content.
is the time to
You know.
It's fine.
So
listen
let
to all the podcasts. Okay, dimensions.
dimensions take us there.
Length, width, and height, right? The 3 dimensions. Look, we don't know what dimensions are. It's just another part of our experience where a certain amount of information exists. Information that we don't necessarily interact with our 5 senses in our daily lives and our 3rd dimensional experience, 4th dimension being time. But there's other forms of space out there that contain information. That information could coalesce into life, into beings. We just don't know.
So the way
There's so much out
the
there.
way I think about that is like inside my computer, there's the main processor, and then there's the hard drive, and there's RAM, and there's information in all of those places, and they exist simultaneously in all of those places, but they aren't necessarily all overlapping at the same time. Sometimes there's information from the RAM that's showing up on my monitor. Sometimes the processor is putting stuff up, but it's not all there at the same time. And that's kind of how I think about dimensions. Like all the information is happening at the same time, but it's not always accessible. And what we were talking about outside was actually being possessed, doing psychedelics.
Look,
And that's something
Yeah.
that I've thought about that before, because if you think about like taking psychedelics and getting out of your head, if you're if you're vibrating at a certain frequency all the time and you either speed up or slow down your vibration, you are moved out of your center, right? And so that space that's vacant can be occupied by something extra dimensional, by information from outside of your computer,
Yep.
right? Is that?
It's quite possible. Look,
am I close with that?
Okay. You
Yeah.
look at this is what, when I did the episode with The Exorcist, we had this strange synchronicity because we were talking about, he's like, oh, you can get possessed doing these darker drugs. You think of meth and heroin and stuff. And I was like, oh, you mean
Heroin.
like meth and heroin and cocaine? And he's like, no, I mean, he's like, I mean, psychedelics, And I was like, really? Because, who, that's not.
Because
Because you guys know.
Anyway.
So, and he brought up something that I had read recently that thanks for keeping me on course, Brynn. I appreciate that. Where would I be without Brynn? I love this.
Let's
one.
hear
Is
it.
that
Where would you be
sarcastic?
without?
No, let's
that was
stay on
serious.
track.
I'd be fucking in a gutter, like on meth and heroin, possessed by demons. I don't know.
Right.
Exactly. I love you, Brynn. Pharmakeia is the ancient Greek word for sorcery, right? And I've read that like 2 days.
Wow, that's like
before.
pharmacist
Exactly.
and
And you're
pharmacopoeia.
thinking drugs, right? It's just
Yeah.
like that. That's archetypal energy.
Sorcery.
And then I had read that like 2 days before that. I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And then just on my own. And then because I read and I do research, just like everybody should do. Like you should be learning if you're not.
I'm not going to research.
Okay.
Forget
No,
that.
I just
Jake.
want you
You
to tell
should
me
just keep
shit.
learning. And then he brought that up during the interview. He's like, yeah, you can get possessed. He's like, do you know that the ancient Greek word for, sorcery is pharmakoa or whatever.
Pharmakeia.
Pharmakeia. And I was like, holy shit, I just read that. We were talking about that and it makes sense, right? Like Aaron was just saying, he gave a description, like you're opening yourself up. You don't even understand the concept of shielding. You don't even understand that the drug you just took is like a sacrament, and you're opening yourself up to the information that exists in these
Infinite
other
information.
Yeah.
infinite information, including the information that exists in these other dimensions. And if you steer yourself into these darker frequencies, it's possible. I'm not going to say it's 100% on anything because I haven't experienced it yet personally.
Actually, did
What?
you know we have an appointment on Monday because
What's going on?
you were going to get screened
For
possession.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
called him.
I know you didn't.
Look, one thing he told me I
think
thought was
this happened
interesting.
to you, but no.
He said that if you think you're possessed by a demon, you're definitely not. You're like, oh man, my demon possessed, bro. My life is hard and I can't get my mental health together. It's like, no, you just fucking get your mental
You're
health.
having a hard time.
Yeah, but he's like, if you're really possessed by a demon, you're gonna know because
You're not gonna.
Well, this
know.
is
Right.
one guy's word.
Yeah. Well, here's
We
the
don't-
thing. And
He's
the
not
cool
the
thing,
full authority.
and the cool thing is that his day job, he talked about this, is that he was a mental health expert, deals and also child protective services.
Wow.
So he's like, when I go and evaluate people, they go through the mental health screening.
That dude's like a spiritual policeman.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
he
what
like
it
gets to the
sounds
crime
like.
scene
No,
and
he's-
makes sure that
Yeah.
everything's cool. And then if there's a demon on board, he
Oh,
can kick
dude.
him out.
He played recordings.
Dang.
There were video
I
recordings.
love that job.
There were video recordings, but he played audio recordings, and we can even route it through right now.
I'm
if you
good.
want to know.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
really
straight,
easy.
dude.
And then
You told everybody to relax.
Yeah.
and it's just whoa, fuck. You hear these voices that they pick up on these recording, and it's not, they're not faking it. It's like other people have recorded similar things. They actually sell an EVP recording setup on Amazon for $100, for specifically scanning frequencies for these type of situations. It's crazy. I don't know. In his world, it's 100% real. He deals with this stuff.
So there's a couple of parts to this. So first of all, the older I get, the less I am likely to just doubt something. That's bullshit. Just because I haven't experienced it. Like, I think back to like Robert Anton Wilson and what he writes about taking stock in other people's experiences and making them your own. I don't know anything unless I've experienced it. Just because you tell me some shit doesn't mean that that's real. Even if I trust and believe you, like that doesn't mean that it's real for me. My experience could be completely different. We could do the same thing and have two completely different outcomes, right? Absolutely. So that's like the first part. I'm less likely to disbelieve stuff like that. I don't fucking know. I don't know. I do know my own experience, and I mean, we've talked about taking psychedelics a lot on No Simple Road and Heads Talking, and like, but I've never really talked about trips that I had in the past. I've never like had conversations like that. And there was one time, I was maybe 19 years old, and Apple and I had gotten a hold of a vial of really good, like 1989, 1990s style liquid acid. This shit made you see air. Like literally you could see kaleidoscopes. You could see the fabric of reality on this shit. And we took a dose one night, and it started off normal. I remember coming on and getting real high. And at one point, like, my telepathic ability was so strong that I couldn't talk. Like, making noise with my mouth seemed so fucking ridiculous. And like that part of my brain got shut down. And I could think it to you, but I couldn't say it to you. And it started to get, like, I started to get anxiety about it because I couldn't talk. And I remember Apple, like, I was sitting in a chair and he had his hands on the arms of the chair, like with his face in my face going, dude, what's wrong with you? And I'm like thinking, I'm fine, bro. Everything's fine. And he's like, why aren't you talking? And I was just like, ah. And, like,
Pretty classic.
yeah. And I'm like, I'm fine in my head. And I remember I closed my eyes and I left my body. And I've heard people say that prior and thought, oh yeah, haha, you left your body. No, like, for real, was in black in space and couldn't feel anything physical. And I could see a silver string down to this ball of light, like 1,000 feet down.
Wow.
And I was like, oh shit, I'm out of my body, like in my head, like, oh my God, what do I do? And as soon as I would think that, slam back down into my body, and Apple in my face going, dude, what are you doing? And then if I would close my eyes, right back out. And I remember at one point thinking, if I don't go back in, something else is going to move in, because
Oh, interesting.
because nature abhors a vacuum,
Right.
and there's empty space, and the only thing connecting me to that shell is this cord. And at the time, I knew jack shit about the silver cord or any of that stuff. I didn't know any of that. And it was like a message from outside of my intelligence, like, you need to get back in there. You're out. You're pushed out apart from your own will.
Interesting.
And
something could
slam back in, and the rest of the night was just a blur of me trying to get my speech back. But I will never forget that feeling of being completely disembodied and knowing that if I didn't go back, that something was going to come in.
Well, you know, you feel those other presences, right? In different, like, and it could be good or bad, right? Like, you know, there's times where I've been in big trips like that, and you feel this incredible angelic presence, and you feel like angels are around you, like all around you. I remember that happened to me one time at Red Rocks, and I was so high on acid. I was gonna say LSD. It's like, am I gonna censor myself? No, acid. I took all the acid. Took all the acid they had.
They took all the acid they had.
But and
The
you
snack
feel,
shack was
and
out.
I felt like I felt like I couldn't even, like, I felt like I had to, like, bow, like you know, like, you're like, oh my God, and you, like, I couldn't even, like, look up because it was like the radiance, the light was, like, so powerful. And there was and they were just all around. This is at Red Rocks, and they were just, like, all around me. And you know, and you feel these presences, and then you think about your DMT experiences where, you know, you feel those alien beings, which is different than the like the LSD angels, right? It's just like, and it's just like, man, it only makes sense that, you project your consciousness or something into these lower frequencies, and there's something there to match you that's in that realm of consciousness. It seems like it's always been a part of human history and development. We've always have had these stories and claimed to have interactions with these beings, spirits or angels or demons or whatever. Like, it's always been a part of the human experience all across the board.
Well, yeah, look at the Dogon. Their whole creation myth is surrounded around beings coming from Sirius.
Seriously?
Yeah, serious. And giving them cannabis.
Right.
And I mean, they knew about the dwarf star around, they knew about Sirius B in the 70s, long before,
Yeah, I think
we didn't know about it until the 70s.
I think we talked about that actually last Heads Talking. I remember we brought that up.
Yeah. So
that we were on, me and Brynn.
There's definitely something in the human thread that that's a real thing. Like we see a minuscule portion of reality.
Such like the tiniest little blip
Just the tip.
of what's there.
Just the tip, Mel.
Should I tell my worst? Should I tell my? Is it? Are we?
Yeah.
Should I tell
it.
my worst drug story? Ever?
Absolutely. Please tell
Should
us
I just
your
put
worst.
it out?
Yeah.
Like, on the unit in the universe
it-
for
let it
time
go, bro.
and code it.
Heads talking
this
is
is
that.
look-
Remember, we just you can say whatever we
Look,
want.
this is an incredible story. It's an incredible story, and this is why. If anyone is listening, and you do cocaine,
There is somebody listening.
if there's anyone listening that does cocaine, you're smart, you're intelligent. Take that cocaine, throw it away, flush it down the toilet. Don't ever touch it. Don't ever think about it.
Get rid of the nose beers.
Get rid of. It's the most disgusting. Every fucking molecule of it is blood money. Like blood. Somebody died. The negative energy. It's just you can go on and on and on and on.
Whoa, dude.
So here we
Take
go.
it easy, Jake.
This is my cocaine story.
Cocaine didn't
Got
do
some
anything
blow in my
to you?
room. You need to chill out.
So this is an incredible story. So this happened in the year 2004
We're getting in the Wayback Machine. We're going to 2004 with Jake.
for my darkest drug story where I probably almost died. So there I was with my friends.
In the Congo. Selling shoes to Aborigines. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm just
So I'm
gonna
at
say
my-
her giggle.
My friend's house. I guess I could just say the state. We're in Colorado, and we were on this. His house is on this beautiful river, and we were trimming weed there, and trimming this amazing weed, and he busted out some cocaine, and I was like, "Oh fuck yeah." Like, why not? At that stage of my life, unfortunately.
You don't need to qualify, bro.
Fortunately, at that stage of my life, I was
Learning why
doing
you said
everything.
what you're saying right
Dude
now.
was doing everything all the time. Just whatever. Everything was neutral.
And
At the-
again, this is your experience.
it's my experience.
Exactly.
And my perspective at the time with everything was, all the drugs were neutral depending on how people charged the drug and what they did with it. Absolutely have a different perspective now. Anyways, so there I was. He offered to bust out some cocaine. So do a couple lines. Oh my God, we're ripping through the trimming all of a sudden. It's like, whoa.
Sure you were.
Just like
Get on it.
precision cuts and just like perfect.
You were the best trimmer ever.
I still am, regardless of the. No, I'm just kidding.
It all started that night.
So, and then, my friend was there. Some other friends I came with, I actually got a ride there to the other friend's house, and they were like, "Hey, we're going to go back into town. Do you want to come with us?" Or, we were going to ride. You want to come? I was like, "No, fuck no. We're still partying, So then they left, which they should have just drugged me out of there. But they left, and then there I was with my one friend who had busted out the cocaine. He busted out more cocaine. It's like, oh, party time. So we start doing lines, like fucking partying. And then it got to the point where we're looking at his window and the drips of water coming down the window in a certain pattern. It looks like alien writing. We're trying to decipher the alien writing. So that's you're like, holy fuck, dude, you are fucking high. Then we thought it was a good idea to take Valium. Later in life, I found out that
You're describing my 20s right here.
Later in life, I found out this is called smurfing. I didn't know they made a name for it, but there it is, smurfing. So then I got to this point where I take Valium. So every time took a Valium and be like, oh, let's do another line. So every time we did a line or two, we'd then take a Valium. So we kept doing that.
Dang.
So we took like 10 or 12 Valiums, including, I don't even know. We were just doing it like, whoa. And let me tell you, I've never really hallucinated off cocaine or anything like that. That's not the first time I did it. And that was definitely the last time. We'll get to what. But so just want to tell you that was like, it's not like I was like, oh, that's my first time. I never hallucinated before. So all of a sudden, like, fucking crazy shit. So I'm like looking across the river, and I'm sure everyone's laughing right now because you're like, dude, you were tweaking out of your mind. I look across the river and I see these people in black cloaks, right? Full black cloaks with the hoods, long coats, and they're coming out of this cabin that's, this house that's across the river. It's this one river. We were on one side. It's about 50 feet or maybe 80 feet to the next house across the river. And these people were coming out in black cloaks. It's like, holy fuck. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, oh my God. And then this one dude, who's like the head dude, I guess, comes out and he's like, got the black cloak, but he's got this mask on. It's a black mask and it's like gold. And somehow I could see like up close to his face or something. It had like gold sequins around the eyes.
Fucking riveted right now.
Like gold sequins around the eyes, around the lips, and like around the chin, and a black cone hat that had gold trim like going up.
Dude, this is the guys from Harry Potter.
Man, this was
when they
before,
got Harry on
this
the.
was
on
before.
Yeah,
I'm not exposed to the Harry Potter world.
I got to show you this picture. You're gonna
Okay.
shit yourself.
Okay, so then I'm like, holy fuck, what is going on? So then, like, and they go down to the river and they do this fucking crazy ritual.
So you sat and watched?
I'm like watching this, like, fucking just like,
I'd have been out.
Like, what am I gonna do? I'm like,
You guys need help?
we were high as like you can probably be before dying. I don't know. I was pretty stupid for doing it. Don't take this as something cool to go do, people.
Yeah, don't do that.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever done, and
And
don't
we're-
recommend
and we're glad
it.
you
Please
survived
don't.
it.
Yeah, me too. So
you are.
so they take this guy, like the people in black cloaks take this guy from the house, and they take him down to the river, and they're like fucking dunking him in the fucking water.
It's a dark baptism.
And my fucking friend is like, and this is all like.
So is your friend seeing the
He's
shit too?
seeing the shit too. Okay, so I
How
don't
did
know.
this happen? You were
I
just
don't know
high
if-
and saw some weird shit.
I don't know if this is a shared hallucination or what. So then,
You never asked?
I mean,
You didn't go knock on the door the next
No,
day?
I mean asked your friend
Well, he
like
was
later
like-
on after the fact.
unfortunately, that person was a very severe drug addict, and he was addicted to.
Oh,
So he had
yeah.
other issues. So like,
Anyway.
So then it was like getting crazy. I was like fucking freaked out. Right. And then like, I think maybe I did another line or something.
Like,
Because that's a good idea
Because
when
maybe
that's going
more
to-
will help.
And then
I'll feel better.
I don't think I did actually, to take that back, but it was so intense, like adrenaline's like witnessing this crazy shit. And then I saw this person in a white cloak come up on one side across the river, and then a person come up with a black cloak on the other side, and they're facing each other, and they both had these staffs, and they like slammed the staffs together. So you saw a person in a white coat, like what? I was like, what the fuck? Let me tell you, that's not, if that really happened, that's not something you want to see after you just did a fuck ton of cocaine and Valium. Like that's like,
So
you're watching this crazy shit, and then
okay, good. Where there's
and then like, I started seeing these like fucking creatures like come out of the trees. They were like almost like
Simeon.
like you could see their skin, but it was like reflective, almost like, I don't know if anyone's ever seen the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie Predator. Like where the predator, you like kind of see him and be like fucking like roar, be like, but blended in like camouflaged,
Reptilian?
Like iridescent camouflage,
like
sort
like
of. I get
almost
it.
like you're seeing the person, but you see the outline of the being, but like almost like you're seeing. So oh man, it got out of control. And here's the funniest part. Okay, so that's the dark and scary part where I probably almost died. There has to be a funny part to the story. This is the funny part. Jake, super fucking high on the dirtiest, awful drugs. Don't ever do them. Gets on a bicycle, a BMX bicycle.
Wait, what?
And
And what?
and pedals my ass off, high as a motherfucker, to the gas station to buy disposable cameras because I had to go take pictures. So what was
Hey
happening.
man, it makes sense.
I was like, fuck it. So I go fucking fucking dude at the gas station is like, what the fuck?
3 a.m.
That was like 5 in the morning. It was like,
hey man, I need a camera.
Like dude rips up on a BMX bike, like fucking, give me all your cameras.
Give me all your cameras, some tinfoil, a bag of jelly beans, and some lube.
So then I go back, I'm fucking taking pictures. I'm still, my friends just like saw, is it the power of shared hallucination? Is it the power of fucking what these drugs do when you do these powerful drugs? Doesn't really matter where you are, and you get in the same frequency and you transmit these images into this one mind. I don't fucking know how he saw what I saw, like but I was taking all these pictures, and fucking sure enough, when I went and developed the pictures, it was fucking nothing. Like there was nothing there. But
you were able to go get the film, go back to the spot, and they were still doing it.
I could see the forest creatures, not really the cloaked people, but the forest creatures. And then
they were laughing at you trying to take. They were like probably posing.
So then that's the thing. It's like, but then like, did those, you know? And then I started reading about like iboga. Like I think it's iboga. This drug that you do down in South America, and you maybe ibogaine is the drug.
Yeah.
Ibogaine
and
is
then
the drug.
And you're
iboga is the plant.
The spirit, iboga, and the way I think I was reading about it in Daniel Pinchbeck's 2012 book when that was a thing. He talked about it, and the way he described it was fucking exactly what I saw with the fucking forest creatures, like the forest spirits. So I don't know. It's just you don't fucking know. Like, but I almost died. Like my heart was like fucking palpitating
through sludge.
Like, when I think about it now, my heart hurts. My physical heart, not my spiritual heart, but my physical
just when you think
heart.
about it.
Yeah, it's like the time when I ate glass at that fucking restaurant in Portland. And every time I drive by there,
that's a different story.
I'm not going to tell you what. I don't want to ruin their
No,
reputation.
don't do that. We don't do that here.
But yeah, like there was crushed up glass in the tacos, and fucking and every time I drive by that place, I feel a scratchiness in my throat because I actually swallowed glass.
But dude, that's no big deal.
No, it's fine. You put
glass,
but scratch it. Your body remembers. Like when you fucking.
Oh yeah,
serious,
that Jack in the Box. Oh, never.
Babe.
Or when I got food poisoning from another place, and it gave me such incredible stomach pain. I drive by that place, my stomach hurts. You know, psychosomatic. So yeah, there you go. That was my worst drug story. I almost died.
You should get somebody on your show about that.
I probably saw life and death, and they were deciding right then, like, well, is it Jake's time, or is he just being the stupidest fucking idiot of all time?
Dude,
maybe if
drugs?
he gets on a bike right now, that'll save his life.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe he just
get the
bumped
BMX
out
bike.
enough.
Go get a camera.
Away from the get away from the cocaine.
So that's a common thing, by the way. Not seeing a ritual baptism in creatures.
Jesus Christ.
But seeing shadow people.
Oh, definitely.
Is a very common thing. When I used to do a lot of meth, after 24 hours, the shadow people would arrive.
Many methamphetamine people in Springfield, Oregon, where they manufactured so much methamphetamines in the 70s, 80s, and 90s into the 2010, probably still do it. They all, every tweaker talked about the shadow people.
I would.
How many tweakers did you talk to?
There's a lot. There was.
Jake did an informal poll of 72.
Dude, you'd interact with those people in the cannabis circles, because people, you lucky bastards, when cannabis was illegal, you know, you don't have to deal with that, you lucky fuckers. But we had to, and you had to. Sometimes you had to get weed from sketchy places if you just wanted some fucking weed. And somebody bought it from this tweaker dude's selling weed. Well, he's also a fucking tweaker. You're like, oh, great. You know, he's telling you these stories. Oh, dude, I've been up for fucking 12 days, and man, day 9, I've just been dealing with the shadow people. I'm like, holy fuck.
I used to leave them stuff.
Okay.
I would like leave a cigarette on my tire on my car or my motorcycle, and they would always take it.
I'm sure they
always would. That shit would be gone the next day. So they were real. I mean, I just wonder, like, sure, you're really high and your brain activity is sped up and you're sleep deprived and you haven't eaten, and so you're hallucinating, sure. But could it be that you have, because this is what I used to think at the time, is like, I've stripped off the haze. I'm seeing through the veil to the other side, and it's giving me access from being sensory deprived, hungry and sleepy and whatever. So now you're seeing through. It's like ritual.
Well, you're seeing through into their dimension. You're not necessarily jumping through to the astral plane. You're they're the tweakers, the people that go to that place, and they're seeing the shadows people. They're accessing the information where the shadow people exist. That that frequency range, that bandwidth of existence, like that's.
So the shadow people are not coming into this world.
No.
We're seeing.
You're like looking in a window.
Nor are you necessarily just hallucinating like it's a made up thing, but you're accessing that dimension. Is what you're
we talk about that. Like, at least I've felt like that with LSD and MDMA and mushrooms. Is like, we call it hallucination because it's extrasensory. But that shit's happening. I can't count the amount of times that I've said, dude, do you see that? And Apple or Mel will be like, that thing right there that I'm seeing, and describe it without me telling them. So that's happening. That's called consensus reality at that point,
you're
right?
Transmitting data in a wireless psychic way. Like you're from brain to brain. Like you're sending the data. Like I've had that experience too. It's like friends are like, oh my God, I'm tripping. Do you see those bats out there? Like these fucking bloodthirsty bats. You're like,
why is it always got to be some shit like that?
Can we send the data without the drugs that make us hallucinate?
I don't know, man.
I think so. Here's my take on that.
Maybe if you're hallucinating.
I think that it's happening all the time. We're doing it right now.
It's like a mass.
It's happening right now. And it's like when your hand falls asleep and you're still touching something, but you don't feel it. That muscle or that thing has atrophied in human beings.
Yes.
And we don't feel with it until it's awake with chemical.
Well, it's like ripped open.
And
instead of learning it intuitively and growing up with it as a muscle, like you said.
Right. And that's not the thing. Like, I've heard so many times that, like, I want to say this the right way. Like, the psychedelic is causing you to have the experience or making the thing happen. I don't think that's it. My opinion is the psychedelic is giving you access to the thing that was already happening.
Right. That's more real.
Yep.
And the prankster guys talked about that back in the day in their books because they used to take like a fuckload of acid all the time, each time. But then they realized over time that they could get to the same place by taking significantly less. And then they realized that it was morally just like a portal or a doorway versus
instead
like
of the amount.
The drug itself. Yeah. Right.
So then, so let's follow the trail. So if it's a muscle that's atrophied, right? Mm-hmm. And by ingesting a chemical, it's either turning it on or giving you access to it. Then if you continually do psychedelics, is that like weightlifting?
Not necessarily, because it's kind of like weightlifting.
Is there a membership for that?
It's like when you drink like 2 Red Bulls and you're like, I'm fucking working out, and then you're like, wait a minute, this isn't sustainable. Right? So like that, you can it doesn't necessarily strengthen it over time, or it doesn't like strengthen it over time. You have to develop it in different ways. You have to develop it with your own conscious mind, and one way you can do that is to just think about God. Like whatever that means to you, if you like get in like a spiritual resonance of just thought where you're just like pondering and you're just like putting that energy out there, that's strengthening that muscle, that psychic muscle that Aaron's talking about, that allows you to get to those states of being. And, doing that and psychedelics can really help because, that I guess you could call that power training, because there was a period of my life where I was doing that, where I was taking significant amounts of psychedelics, pretty much weekly or a couple times a week. And then also having deeply spiritual thoughts and reading all kinds of awesome books and just really getting myself in a spiritual frequency. And then, so it's like power training, and there's like boom, 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 boom. And then holy shit, I felt like
but that's stage, not sustainable.
Well, it is, because it's like when you hit a certain level of development, it's like you don't go back, right? So
but you don't need the same type type of techniques that you need that got you there.
Right. Once you get there, it's like you hit a new frequency range. You develop.
I've said for a long time now, like after doing a lot of psychedelics, it started seeming like I wasn't coming down. I was getting used to it. Do you get what I mean by that? Like,
yeah, it becomes
like the next day, there wasn't really a come down. It was just like, oh, this is the way things are.
More
now.
of a shift.
Right,
Like
not
thought
more
was
oh my
altered
God.
for
Yeah.
That you had to process it. But
Yeah. And I think for me, like the way I experience it is like,
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
I'll do psychedelics, and for a period of time afterwards, I can't quantify the time period. It's always different. But things will be super clear, and I can access that part of myself really easily for a period of time. And then as that time period goes on, it's like decay, like radioactive decay. And it's like I always, in my head, I don't think I've ever told anybody this. I think about it in terms of, I call it the great forgetting. It's the great forgetting. It happens over and over and over again. Like, oh yeah, I'm this omnipresent, amazing, powerful light being.
Right.
And then 6 months later, I'm like sitting at my computer going, oh God, this is life. Like, this is all I have. I'm in this meat container.
Yeah, it's hard to sustain it, but you always have those memories, and it's whether it's in your conscious mind or not, it's in your subconscious, because there's been times where I've had big trips where trips I had from years ago resurfaced, and those trips and the information, the things you learned, it's like, oh, that's all still there. Like whether it's like a part of your conscious mind, like you said, 6 months later, it doesn't matter. Like it's in your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So
we just watched that Limitless the other day again. That movie about
With Bradley Cooper.
He takes
not know that one.
There's this like experimental drug that he gets a hold of.
I'm in.
That makes you be able to it makes you be able to access all of your brain.
Oh wow.
And he can like remember every memory he's ever had
and retain all the information.
Everything. And so it is in there. Your brain is a recording device. And
right.
Well,
and
not based on that Bradley Cooper movie.
No.
It's exactly like that, Mel.
Yeah.
And now you're taking in everything, and that's how the power of repetition works. Because when I want to learn something and I'm reading a really good book, and I can recommend a dozen books right now, but one book that I've really focused on and focused my energy on is a book called The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. It was written in 1908. Incredible book. I've listened to that book hundreds of times. I've probably read it about 100 times. But I just put it on in the background, and I'll be driving. I'm not focused on it, but the sensory information is going in. It's going in my ears.
It's called programming.
Right. And it's going in, but it's happening to us all the time. So like all of that is stored in your subconscious mind. All that data, infinite amount of data, is just stored there, and it's just sitting there. And, we could talk about how you can use your subconscious mind to become more successful in life, or we could say that for a different time. But the thing is that, all that information is always hitting your subconscious, all of it, all the time.
That's that's funny. It's like taking responsibility for your own programming.
Yeah, you have to do that.
And
That's
like
very important.
Yeah, so something
Darwin farted, and I can't ignore it
He farted
anymore.
and he's snoring.
That was me.
He's having
Sorry.
a great
No, I'm just
night.
kidding.
He just looked at you like, fuck you.
It's really bad.
Like running
You
at
need
the
to move over here? We can.
No.
Okay.
running at the gym, they have that line of television sets.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah,
and so
evil.
like for me, running is this meditative thing, and my head is open and I'm very conscious. And then there's this line of television sets above me. So I've started like making myself focus on something on the floor. I know that it's there and it's around me, but you can't. I'm not going to hide in a cave, right? Let's be real. So I've got to be able to take responsibility for my own programming and mitigate the effect of the shit that's around me, because it's
protecting yourself in life. Like, when you're doing like energy work or any type of like I'm sure the Exorcist, you got to kind of protect yourself first. You got to say your prayers. You got to put your energy bubble up. You got to do your crystals, whatever is your thing. You have to mitigate any chances of you getting infected by other people's spiritual shit. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like you can handle it. Like you can be that, paramedic, but you don't have to, get everybody's blood all over you, but you can help treat their wound, and those are the things that we need to start teaching and learning and looking up, is those things on how to take care of yourself in a world that's
full of
programming.
and
full of it.
Yeah. And I think, we've kind of lost a little bit of that taking responsibility. It's just like, oh, but this said that, or this told me that, or these people, it's very this sort of group thing.
It's kind of what we were saying to earlier about the research. Mm-hmm. No one bothers to do research anymore. And, we just believe words on a screen. All of us do. Because we'll be like, oh, no, well, I looked it up in 5 different sources.
It said
it's
it was going to rain today.
All on the internet. It's all on the internet. Like, okay, maybe some people look at books, and I know that's very real still. People are book lovers. But when you're doing quote unquote research for something real quick, I don't think you're going to the encyclopedia and, checking out 5.
And who wrote the fucking encyclopedia?
Exactly.
Again, I'm getting back to Robert Anton Wilson, and don't buy anybody else's bullshit. Like,
it's the intuitive part that we need to come back to. That was my whole roundabout point, was like trusting when you see the truth. Sometimes you can recognize it because it gives tingles. It gives you some kind of internal jolt, and when you don't ignore that, those jolts become language.
Right.
Absolutely. And when you ignore that, and because sometimes it's only for a split second, and the brain comes in, it's like, oh, but wait, I heard this, but wait, this is like, but wait.
You start to explain everything away that you just saw.
Away.
Like, oh, well, maybe my stomach hurts. Yeah. Or maybe, oh, that was indigestion from, the pizza earlier. Like, no.
But if you can recognize it and hold it.
Pizza.
Well, the interesting thing is about taking control of your own programming is that, you have your conscious mind, your subconscious mind. You have the power to accept or reject anything that comes into your subconscious mind with your conscious mind. That's a great power that we have.
It's the gatekeeper.
We can just say, no, that I don't believe that. Or as Aaron brought up Robert Anton Wilson, he also has an incredible quote where he talks about always existing in the state of belief and unbelief. Mm-hmm. You never want to actually just believe something, because then you close yourself off to the potential of that being wrong, even if it's 100% correct.
And I feel like you can still have comfort in both of those states.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You don't have, it's not contradictory if you really think about it. Like, you can affirm what you quote unquote believe, but you can also believe that you don't know everything, and you have the opportunity to be wrong.
And in the world that we're in right now, facts do not equal truth.
No.
Absolutely.
That is a good something that is not a given anymore. If it's a
truth
fact,
is fluid these
doesn't
days.
mean that it's fucking true. And so there's two things that I keep thinking as we're talking. The first thing is, what the thinker thinks, the prover proves. You have the thinker and the prover inside your head all the time. Mm-hmm. And so whatever that thinker is thinking, the prover is going to work to prove that thing for you. So that's like being the guardian and the gatekeeper of your own mind. And then the other thing that I think is this bumper sticker or meme or something that I saw, and it was inside of a Steal Your Face, and it's one of my favorite things that I've seen on the internet ever. And it said, "Do no harm, take no shit."
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow, there you go.
And I thought about that in terms of myself and my consciousness and how I deal with everybody else. Do no harm, take no shit. So I'm not letting the shit in, and I'm not giving that shit out to anybody else. And that's the thing. Like, it's really difficult now to steal your mind, to like gird your loins, to like watch the gate, because it's a constant overload attack. It's the entire army at you at once.
At once from all fronts. All the time. And hurry. And do it now.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And how and then you have the internal monologue of having to measure up to your own bullshit too. How did you do? Did you blow that one? Did you this, that, the other thing? Like talking yourself out of your own success and your own talents and the things that you know aren't right, but you don't give a fuck because you're lazy. And I'm talking about myself right now.
I thought you were reading my dirty laundry, baby.
And like,
I was like, dang, that's a little harsh.
and like all that stuff is like constantly pouring on us. And then you add opening yourself up with psychedelics to the mix. And now you've sweetened the deal, but you've also put a rock in your shoe at the same time. Do you get what I mean by that? Because now you have to take responsibility. You can't say you didn't know.
Yep, that's usually what happens. And
this is where a lot of the self-shame and guilt and personal embarrassment come over, and that's how it can keep you in those states, is because that's like the boogie monster. It's cloaked in self-doubt or all those fears, and it keeps you in check. It's like, yeah, you're talented, but what? Go sit on the couch and go freaking eat that ice cream.
Well,
go, like, or
ice cream.
You know, I heard this incredible
whatever
story.
the thing is for you. It doesn't have to necessarily be food. I don't know why I'm picking on food. I love ice cream.
I heard this
pizza.
incredible story that relates to what you're saying. And this famous opera singer, it was in this book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind is the book I was reading. Joseph Murphy is the writer. And you can tell I'm a little under the leaf, as you can hear. I just made that up. That's going to be like
a new thing.
Yeah.
I'm a little under the leaf.
Jake's under the leaf.
But he talked about this opera singer. Okay, this opera singer, and he was like one of the most famous opera singers, and he had this big performance, and fucking huge crowd, sold out show, and he's got to just go out there and crush it, and he just like couldn't, like, it's like couldn't his, there was nothing coming out of his voice, and he was like super. He was super nervous, and he said that his big self had to tell his little self that he was going to sing and go out there and perform. And then his big self went out there and did the performance, right? So that's what you have to do, that doubting voice, that shame or whatever. Like, you just got to be like, that's my little self trying to keep me from achieving what my big self knows that I can do. Otherwise I wouldn't be doing this. And so that's the incredible thing. We have these weird, for whatever reason, the strange design of the human being, we have these forces that play internally and externally. But at the same time, we're these incredibly powerful beings that have this incredible ability to manifest things. And we don't have to succumb to that little voice. You're the big voice. So when those moments happen, you just got to take control.
It waxes and wanes.
It does.
Yeah,
but as you get stronger, you know,
even when we're strong, I feel sometimes how could I ever go back?
That's when you get the nut punch.
Yeah. And then here you go, square one in the dirt, crawling on your belly.
That's okay. Then you come back. You know,
exactly.
You
come
just
back.
keep coming back.
But I just mean like the homeostasis is imbalance. Boom.
Wow.
Are you saying your homeostasis?
I'm saying
in general.
In general.
Okay.
There's the balance, and it's like being on a unicycle.
It's a flux always. If you're flatline the whole time, that's when there's no movement, there's no stagnation, there's no energy peaks or valleys, or you have to have those times of sickness to stimulate your immune system. You have to have those times of rest so that you can gravitate toward that energetic time that you're going to need. You have to, invest in study in order to have the knowledge to apply it. Like, there's got to be the time. All of them.
It's called albedo, negredo, and rebedo. That's what that is.
Alfredo?
Yeah. It's the red, the black, and the white. It's dissolution and, coming back together and
Well, I just like to
solidification.
keep it real in the sense like we all want to be quote unquote perfect in our own our own sense, like successful, whatever that looks like to us. But the reality of it is that the triggers, the traumas, the fears is a part of our movement forward.
Yeah.
Everything is relevant. Nothing is
if
garbage.
If you choose it, you have to choose that.
Well, even if you learn on your deathbed, all of that collected stuff is still relevant to you.
But, the goal is to get past that and to learn how to adapt.
Absolutely. That's why we're here talking about it.
Yeah,
so
you gotta get
we can
past
shed
that.
some light on it.
And you can gain.
Like we were talking about earlier about taking, through different various parts of your life or even in a single day, trying on all those different archetypes of being the victim or being the healer or being the hero or being the fool, like you.
Absolutely.
And then the point is to learn from those and then
absolutely.
Yeah, the true human development. I mean, all the best.
Well, I just say stuff because I get stuck on being perfect. That's my
nobody's perfect. Everybody has their flaws, but
I don't mean perfect so I can have my hands folded and have straight A's. I don't mean it like that.
No, I know
everything just right.
Well, I mean perfect to myself. Like when I look back,
you strive for that. I like to always say
strive. Yeah, that's it being in the healthy form.
Yes.
In the unhealthy form, it's that obsession with it.
I like angels. Like I'm a big angel guy because of the experiences.
Shout out Uriel.
The experiences I've had, the psychedelics, and it's just, we talked about earlier, just I could tell you story after story. But the thing is that I always feel like angels are just like this higher version of us, right? They're just like a being. They're just like existing in a higher frequency. They're like role models. It's something to aspire to, right? We could get to that level as humans, but our flaws or whatever, like they're a part of us, as Mel was saying. But part of our development, our goal as humans, just our singular development, not just the collective development, is to ascend, to get past that, to get higher and higher in our existence. So the fear, and the things, the self-shame, the things that hold us back, we got to get past that stuff because that's the next level of human. Now, not saying that those experiences are abnormal.
And just saying we got to get past it, man. For a lot of people, including myself, those things it's not that simple.
No, it's not simple at all. It takes an incredible amount of work.
It's not a simple road, dude.
There's no simple road. It's incredible amount of work. It takes incredible amount of work.
It's literally a life.
It's a lifelong. I was going to say it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah, this is not a from June to November. This is
people can figure it out.
We're in November. I thought we were almost done.
People can figure it out earlier in life. They might be a teenager and be way farther along the path of understanding than we are.
Oh yeah, I've met some.
Yeah, we just don't know how that all works. But what we just got to constantly do is figure out how to ascend that, to constantly realize the light being aspects of us, and just to constantly realize the fear, the illusion, all that is created. It's just somebody else's creation in a way. And we don't have to succumb to it.
Also, I'd like to give a shout out to the process.
Yes,
that is not.
Thanks,
You're welcome, process.
I've been here all along.
Everybody's always looking toward the beginning or the end. Nobody's talking about the process.
The beauty's in the journey.
Me and Brynn were talking about that. Who gives a shit if you're 10th or 1st or 12th? Like, sometimes you care, and yes, great, strive. But then the whole time you're working out for the end result.
There's no end result.
No, there's no end, because after that race you want another one, and after that other one you want a third one and a fourth, and you want to keep
really
going.
Just consumption
and that's
of
how
a
you
product.
end up
Yes.
Jeff Bezos.
So it's the process all along. Everybody thinks we're chasing, that gold medal or the paycheck or whatever. Really, it's the process. We need to embrace that a little bit more, and like I said, give it its due, because you don't have to worry about when it's going to finish or end or any of that stuff. You just do.
And I just want to say before you go in, Brynn, it's that the process of personal development. I mean, as you gain and you learn more, and it's not just personal, but spiritual development, all kinds of development. It's exciting. It's an exciting process because your life does begin to change. You begin and I'm saying this in the most genuine and honest way that I can, because it's true. You do begin, as you develop, to interact with these higher frequencies.
I was going to say it's
and
psychedelic.
get information from those sources, not voices, or it's bigger than that. It's some sort of data that's coming in from those places, and that comes after. I'm doing great. That comes after
That was one of
the
those
development. I'm doing great.
Sorry.
No, it comes as data. It's feeling. It's information. It's not even binary information. It's just some sort of ethereal information that you can feel and interpret. That comes with the spiritual development. As you start to learn all this stuff, it's really exciting. Highly recommend just studying, learning, read all the books. Get into it.
All the stuffs.
That wasn't
all
real
the
quick, but
things.
Brynn, take it away.
I was just going to say, as we were talking about like the goal of ascending and the goal of this higher striving, at the same time, I think it's important to remember that you also have to be grounded and fully in your body. You have
Doesn't
to be,
seem directional.
It doesn't, but it's like you have to fully be in your three-dimensional human body, in the clay, in the dirt, and at the same time, be a light
As
being.
above,
So
below.
Well, at the same time.
At the same time. And you can experience that higher frequency through any of your daily tasks.
Plugged in and tuned out.
You've seen the image of Baphomet, right? If you look at the image of Baphomet, he's got one hand up and one hand down, and he is firmly rooted in the earth with his feet planted, and he has wings on his back. And that is a symbol to remind you exactly of what Brynn is talking about.
There's a really interesting George Washington Baphomet statue.
I know.
Isn't that
it's
crazy?
so cool.
It's really
so
interesting.
Cool.
You know, I always talk about this. This is really funny. We're talking about this. You have to exist. This is the hardest thing about being a spiritual person. People talk about being multidimensional.
Being alive.
How are you like, I'm a multidimensional being. I'm a multidimensional being. Oh, really? What does that mean? Let me tell you what it means to me. Okay. Your consciousness, your awareness, not just your awareness, it includes your awareness.
Your eunice.
And more. Your full consciousness is existing on multiple dimensions at the same time. So you're existing in the third dimension, where I'm hanging out with Brynn and Mel and Aaron and Darwin. I always say Einstein because of the fucking Back to the Future movies, and because he's got the scientist name, Darwin. And then you step it up and you're also existing in the dimension where this is just all me. Like, I'm Brynn, Mel's me, and Brynn, we're just this one being. Then you keep stepping it up and you're existing in the dimension where you're like
tears,
where you have the God's eye view and you're looking down and you're seeing how it's all the oneness within God. So and more. So you can and as you develop those awarenesses, you can start stacking them. And then you're like,
this is
boom,
weird.
boom, boom,
this
boom.
is all like everything you're talking about in my head is framed in magic.
Uh-huh.
That's the Kabbalah. What you're talking about right there is the tree of life all the way up to Keter.
Yeah. You're living on
monad.
each, and that's just my own intuitive, like how, and it's all in all of us too.
Well, that's
like,
why all of those traditions all mirror each other. That's
Right.
why you can
It's
look
just
all around the world at all those spiritual traditions, and they overlap.
Because they all experience the same thing.
And it's weird because like I have glasses that see through that. I guess I take it for granted sometimes, but like having a conversation like this, I'm like,
You're like, oh,
what the fuck?
yeah.
Okay.
That's my lens.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess when you study
Well, that's what it
something for a
means. And
while,
then you're like, that's what it
repetition.
means. Yeah. That's what it means to exist multidimensionally. And in order to do that, you do have to have these psychedelic experiences where you can project the almost complete consciousness, your almost complete consciousness into that one level, right? So one time maybe you have a trip and most of you is on this level and you're like, holy shit, this level is crazy. Then like you have another big trip. And then you're up here and you're like, holy shit, this level is like fucking amazing. But you always have that memory there. So eventually, and of course you could do this with all different kinds of spiritual training.
You could do it with breathing. You can do it with being in the cold and breathing. Look at Wim Hof.
I went to the Grateful Dead Mystery School. So that's where that's how I learned this shit.
There are many schools.
Right. So like then you have
Mystery
that
That's a
School
awareness.
of
good
the-
one. I
the
like
Mystery
that
School
one.
of the Lot is dope.
Yeah, like so. There you go. So then you once you have those experiences, then you understand what it means to be multidimensional. So that's truly, to me, that's what it means to have a multidimensional perspective.
Wow.
Because you're living in all that at once, and you have data coming in from each layer at all times, and you're processing that data, and then you're using all of that data, the multidimensional data, to form your perspective and how you interact with people and how you interact with your daily life.
I hate to do it, but like my physical body has had a tuna fish sandwich and a bowl of soup today, and that's it. And I'm starting to get like.
No, I heard you ordering everything that was being talked
I know,
about.
I'm
You're like,
f-
I'll
fucking
have pizza,
starving
I'll
over
have
here.
ice
Oh my
cream.
God.
I'll
So
have-
I'm gonna
No.
say to everybody out there this.
This was so good. What did you gain from this podcast? You gained so much. Wait.
I'm waiting.
Wait, hold on. Everybody, I want all your psychic energy to focus on this one thing.
Oh, shit.
Everything in the universe depends on this. Tell a friend about No Simple Road and Heads Talking.
And Midnight
Please.
on Earth.
Well, yeah, that one too. But more importantly, let's tell everyone about No Simple Road. Everybody that loves music, everybody that loves these type of conversations. We're always going to be there for you here.
Okay, and seriously, and don't say anything. You need to be quiet right now.
I'm shutting
sir.
up.
Quiet. There you go.
If you're listening to No Simple Road right now, you're one of those people that loves occult stuff. You're one of those people that loves ghosts and exorcisms and Reiki and all the stuff.
Exorcisms and Reiki. Why do they
All
go
the-
hand
whatever.
in hand?
All that.
Actually, didn't
Hang
they
on,
let
you're not
Reiki
allowed to say
turn-
anything. Hold on.
They did go hand in hand.
Check it out. I'm serious here. Jake is a master at research. He is somebody that remembers data like nobody I've ever met.
That's not true.
And he loves Art Bell. And so his podcast is an homage to everything that he loved about Art Bell.
That's true.
But through our lens and through the lens of somebody that went to the Grateful Dead Mystery School. So if you want to hear about those kind of topics through the lens of somebody that went to the same school you're going to.
But you don't know that. I mean, everybody knows that school, but not all the listeners know that. So people,
All
people
you can
listening.
do is
Jake,
take
you
a
weren't
that
listen.
supposed to
secret
say
lens.
anything,
Yeah.
bro.
Uh-oh.
Come on, man. You should really check out
You're
Jake's
not in the
podcast.
talking
Is all I'm
dimension
saying.
right now.
And I'm not just saying that because Jake's my friend and he's sitting here doing Heads Talking with Bip. You should realize it's fucking amazing. It's really good. You should check it out.
Thank you. It's
Wait
been
a minute,
great.
Jake. You
The
got to keep
secret-
cutting Britt off.
The secret. I just real quick. I'm sorry.
Go
You're
ahead,
never
'cause
real quick.
I'm just circling back to
Okay.
something we very started.
No, I
on
just want to say
before
this:
we end.
the listeners of this incredible podcast have the secret. They know that it's coming through that lens. The listeners I have, the international listeners that are coming from around the world and all over America, not all of them know that my perspective is based in the Grateful Dead Mystery School. You guys know that.
So you're on the inner circle.
You're in the inner circle.
Yep, you're the inner sanctum.
I'll
Go ahead,
shut
Brynn.
up even more now.
No, I was just going to say before we end, circling back to the beginning of our conversation and talking about psychedelics, about thinking, we were talking about that void that opened up and that something could come in if you're not there. And,
Right,
just
right.
opening yourself up, just the thought, especially as, laws are changing and all these things, there, maybe an influx of lots of people trying things out, which is going to open up a lot of psychic energy to all the dimensions. And just the thought of, why are you doing that? And sometimes it's just a party, sometimes it's just to whatever, but it's just,
and it's all okay.
and it's all okay. But there's also the thought of just that growth and that, like, what you're looking for and what frequency do you want to be on and where do you want to go, and just holding that intention as a sacrament is something just to consider.
And that's incredible information, bro.
thought.
I want people to focus on that. And I also want people to focus on the fact that they fucking legalized our drugs in Oregon. Like
All the drugs.
All the drugs.
Fucking love it.
It's so fucking crazy. I can't believe we didn't talk about this earlier. I could walk around right now with 40 hits of acid. I guess they could quantify that in a vial that's like a little under half a vial.
A personal amount or something.
And I could fucking be like, hey,
Well, I don't think it's
No, it's not. You get $100 fine.
Oh no, not
and you have to go to rehab.
Oh, you do have to go to
Yeah,
rehab?
it's based
Yeah,
on
and they're paying for the rehab with the taxes from cannabis.
Well, do I get free food?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in. But I'm just crazy. That's crazy.
It's
Jake
40 hits of acid.
Yeah, Jake, you were just talking about cocaine, acid.
And it's all legal here now in Oregon.
It is
decriminalized.
It's not legal.
And it's like 2 grams. 2 grams of cocaine. You can have it. That's like,
that's a lot.
That's enough for
a lot
one
of
person
blows.
to
Which is
have
going
enough.
to be, yeah.
That's
It's
a
going
hell
to
of
be
a
Or it's one
interesting
line.
to see.
I think the purpose is they really are taking into consideration that, addiction is a real thing.
Yes,
And
thank God.
and just because you're addicted to something does not mean that you are a criminal.
That you need to go to jail.
That you
And
need
that
to
locking you up is gonna fix you,
Yeah,
or-
that's
yeah.
they're recognizing that. And so that's kind of how I see it, in the sense that no, it's not saying go freaking shoot up, go load up, go whatever. It's saying that we recognize this is an issue. Cannabis, we villainize it for too long. Let it help us do something. And I think I'm proud of our state for doing
Yeah.
that.
We're
I am
going to
too.
have mushroom dispensaries here.
No.
It's
There's
coming.
not going to be
Well,
dispensaries.
in
There's
2
gonna-
years.
No, it's not. That's not real.
These are not real
That's
facts.
not
All right,
true.
let's hear this.
Whatever you've listened for the last
Jake,
5
look.
minutes from Jake is not true.
Yeah,
Everything
I
else
was like,
you can
I'm
That
in
was
it
like,
now.
you have not been
Paying
owning
attention.
your
They-
programming here, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's the road to the mushroom dispensary.
Yes.
You think it may be a door
Clearly,
opening.
it's like the massive door opening.
Jake's
there.
opinion is
They legalized psilocybin. I mean, it's
No.
They-
all right. Tell me, enlighten me. What
Here's
happened?
here's the deal.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
They are doing a study for the next 2 years.
Okay, sounds
to
right.
figure out how to open up
Your third
psychedelic
eye.
treatment facilities
Okay.
where it's
Dispensaries.
psilocybin therapy assisted with psychotherapists in licensed treatment facilities here in the state.
Yeah, they call those dispensaries, buddy.
No.
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 It's
Different.
like in your therapist's office. However,
Hey, dude, that's a huge effing step, bro.
Yeah,
It
it's,
is.
Yes,
Like,
yes,
come
it is.
on.
It's a
I'm
huge-
sure there are
It feels
further
like-
doors that will
Look, dude,
be
that feels
opened
like a fucking
down the
dispensary.
road.
If I can go down to the clinic and be like, look, I'm having a bad day. Can I just sit in the room and trip with a doctor looking at me?
you have to wear the mask.
Oh.
Play concertos.
No.
You know what's rad is, like, if you think of the war on drugs as a real war, like in this state, the war has come to a slow close.
Yeah, end. Very close to
It's
an end.
very close to being peacefully ended, and both sides are bowing out, and
The
drugs.
treaties
It's
yeah,
a beautiful
Yeah.
thing.
treaty is signed, and you know what? People that have problems like I had are going to be able to get help, and they're not going to be put away and locked in a cage for having an issue with emotion.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
like somebody like Aaron, which he's not the only one. I know you're one in a million to me, baby, but like there's lots of cases where people go astray. They don't necessarily want to do drugs. They just kind of fall into it. They feel like nobody cares for them. They do dumb shit. And so then they
Bad choices.
Yeah, they make bad choices.
Coping
and so
mechanisms,
it
as we
warrants
talked about.
it warrants this kind of self-abusive behavior. But if somebody really gave a shit and somebody was like, hey, you, instead of being arrested, you're going to go into this freaking awesome rehab center. You're going to get what you need until you feel better. And we're going to put this program up so that you can go freaking find a job or do whatever. I'm not saying that they're going that far, but that would be awesome to complete it. Like, it's starting that. And that's what's awesome about the change that's going down right now.
And
sorry, go ahead.
we haven't even said anything about cannabis being recreationally legalized in a bunch of states.
What were the new add-ons?
Jersey.
What were the new
Arizona.
add-ons?
Jersey, Arizona,
Rhode Island, I think.
Ooh.
I think Mississippi might be in
No,
there.
Yeah,
it was
I
a
did say,
M
and
state.
also
Montana?
There was also
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
one
yeah.
of the Dakotas as well.
South Dakota.
Was it South Dakota?
Oh, wow,
Okay.
baby.
So,
yeah,
yeah.
man. A bunch.
Congratulations, listeners in
In
those
all those
states.
states.
In all those states.
Because you got
absolutely.
what you're going to experience, what we've been experiencing
It's a
for
huge
years.
victory.
Awesome.
And it's such a amazing experience to walk into a
And
dispensary.
be patient with the experience because it was very clunky at first when it started here.
You know what?
Well,
I'm really happy that it's been legalized.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this for this is for Aaron.
Okay.
Legalization of marijuana really ruined marijuana for me. It did. It took the fun, that doing something bad.
Oh,
away from
come
it.
on!
And I was like,
It took like the middle school
now.
out
It's
of
not even
it.
cool anymore, man.
You selfish. No, I'm just kidding.
But anyway,
no, wait. Do we really got to end it? Let me think. Let me think of
protect your psyche and
protect your
control your own
psyche,
programming.
control your own programming.
notice where
Be
you-
careful. Look, when you're taking,
shield yourself.
when you're
Jake is going to
taking-
get a mute button if he keeps cutting you off.
Wait, I don't mean to cut her off. I cut everybody off.
Okay.
We're in one mind. Think of I'm actually picking up her data and retransmitting it.
holy shit!
But you know
Mute button.
we could tighten up this whole podcast. Or just go deeply bounce around the entire thing. What the hell was I going to say? I lost.
We
it.
love you guys. We'll see you next week with more stuff and
Oh, yeah,
things.
we will.
And guess what?
What?
I don't know. Don't worry about it. That's
Don't
what I'm going
worry
to say.
about anything.
Don't fucking sweat it,
Maybe
man.
you're a
Everything's
multidimensional
gonna
light
be
baby.
There is
right?
something way
Dude.
bigger than all of us
Everything's
handling
gonna
everything
be
that's going on
alright.
right now. Don't trip. Everything's going to be fine. We will see you next week. We love you. Take care of
Yes.
each other.
Bye.
Smile as stranger. Hydrate. Safety third. And we'll see you soon. Peace.
Adios, y'all.
Like twist and turn the mix from turning this to turn the wish the word is many problems, but it's a burden. Felony just been deferred and hell means been the earth and alchemy can bring the birth the melody of a newborn. So persistent, so resistant, so insistent, so commitment, so resilient, or haven't you learned it? No simple road. My windshield is shattered as I focus through the spot in the corner that is still intact. The react is both a defense mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A equal A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
What's up, everyone? It's Joe, and I'm the host of That's Awesome with Joe, a podcast on the newly formed Sound Talent Media Podcast Network. I talk with tons of your favorite artists, managers, touring personnel, and more. Most of the time we talk about music, but lots of the time we end up talking about something completely unrelated. We laugh a lot. We do a lot of really stupid things, but also some things that are really informative and interesting. Basically, it's a podcast that I think you should listen to. Obviously, I'm biased because it's my podcast, but I think I might be into it if I wasn't the host. Check it out at soundtalentmedia.com.